All right,
No, that's
let's begin. Jochum, what are you drinking at 8:30
Why are you
p.m.?
drinking that?
I got some caffeine. I got a rain.
no, you don't.
What is a rain?
A rain. It's like a off version of a bang. It's like 300 milligrams of caffeine.
What's the half-life of caffeine?
6 hours.
Yeah, why are you drinking it at 8:30? 8:55.
You know
9
why?
o'clock.
Hey, you know why? Jochum, don't answer this. Because he doesn't have his fucking house together.
Set your house in order, dude.
Get your house
in
together.
order, Jochum.
I'm being shit on today.
Jochum, what do you do for a living?
What
You
do I do
help
for a
others.
Yeah.
Help yourself.
Help yourself first. Set your own house in order. Do some spring cleaning first before you help others.
You need to be able to bring the energy.
Mm.
And caffeine helps you bring the energy.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Way to be
Good
thoughtful
point.
in
That's
that
true.
in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't need it though. I'm just saying, and I don't think Deck. Do you need it?
do I need energy right now?
Do you need a substance to give you energy?
No. Do you know why? Because I draw on the energy. I get my energy from everyone else.
Mm. How
When
about
I-
you,
So
Mark?
you're a sucker.
Yeah,
of energy.
I'm the same way. An introverted guy, but I'm also extroverted in that I get my energy from other people in this setting.
Yeah, so,
Not from
so you
caffeine.
guys are all getting energy from people. I'm trying to give energy.
Ooh.
So that's
Good
yeah.
one. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
so
You're a
now-
giver.
Now I get it.
You're just a
Yeah.
giver.
I get it now.
So generous.
So he said. So really, if we're all getting energy from each other, and we don't have the three of us don't have a lot of energy, that means Jochum's actually giving the energy
So
to every
all-
single one of us.
So all of you are drinking rain at 8:55 p.m. right now.
I'm drinking Jochum Strength. I'm
Hypothetically.
drinking Anatomy Tuesday.
Anatomy Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we're drinking.
Yes.
I'll have what you guys are having. Unbelievable. First off, I just want to say this: you guys are very dialed in with your posture right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that speaks to Anatomy Tuesday as a corporation, as a content creation platform.
It's really part of the brand.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun to watch, and I don't think two people have been so properly placed and comfortable as you guys are. I was kind of nervous with bringing two big dudes up here, sitting on the couch together.
Yeah, it's all about that neutral spine. If
Yeah.
you watch any of the videos, we mention it about probably 16 times. Whenever we lose like track of what we're going to say next, it's neutral spine or stream theory.
Yeah.
It's usually what we fall back upon.
Stream theory. What is
Stream
that?
theory is a big one.
What is stream theory?
It's the principle.
The theory.
It's a principle. I'm gonna say principle because it's solidified, but of having something jacked up in your chain, looking above and below. So we talk about it all the time, but pain somewhere, probably coming from a source above or below the spot of actual pain.
Mhm. So if your knee's bugging you, you probably got something jacked up in your hip flexor or ankle.
Would like a lower back pain be another example of that?
Lower back, 100%.
Hamstrings?
Okay.
Mhm.
Hip flexors.
Hip flexors.
flexors.
Hip flexors, really?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, I get.
What would be above? Pectorals.
Internal
what?
rotators, lats.
If your lower back is hurting, what would be above that area? That could be that could be fucked up.
Your internal rotators up top, so you got your chest and your lats that are going to be able to bring you in that rounded position. So your T-spine's going to be tight, and that's going to put you in bad posture, which is going to bug that lower back.
Upper cross syndrome, slouch forward.
So if I work out like hard.
Yep.
And I might as well fix my posture.
Yeah, let's all get into it, man. Let's practice what we preach.
I really can't, to be honest. I just sink in.
So what do you think these guys are doing over there? That couch is a sinkhole.
They're doing the same thing probably. But
It's kind of tough.
I'm having lower back pain,
Mm.
and I've been working out probably 3-4 times a week, and then I pretty much sit down
Yeah.
like most of the day, and man, it hurts, and
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I've been stretching out my hamstrings and it's getting a little better, but I don't know, just sitting down all day, that's probably not good for it, right?
No, couch
Sitting,
stretch.
yeah.
You hit a little couch stretch. Hit the hip flexors. That'll help you. Hip flexor QLs. Those will be your money makers.
Okay.
Just with your thumb.
No, just I was pointing them out, trying to point them out to the audience for the,
Oh,
the,
gotcha.
the
Got it.
visual cue. But
Oh,
stretching
nice.
out those hip flexors instead of the hamstrings.
Yeah.
The
so-
90-90 thing that we used to do with
Mm.
Becker.
Love
That's a
99s.
little glute. That'll help you a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, man, sitting's
Feel that.
tough. You got to just kind of invest in your body throughout the day to just correct it, I guess, you know.
So I just read a whole book. So Kelly Starrett, like we've all read that, but read a whole book. The back,
I just read a whole book.
the back, the back mechanic, and the whole thing was just shitting on everybody sitting all the time. It's like they try to fix it with a stretch, and then they'll go sit in postures like this all day for 8 hours, and then wonder why their back isn't feeling great.
So that was the whole book.
The whole book. It was this old dude. He was a little crazy because he talked about positions in sex too.
Mhm.
It was there's a whole diagram of you need to have a neutral spine during sex, and I'm like, oh yeah, I bet that's working for you, huh? And he's this old dude with like this porno mustache and like glasses, but
Some Ron Jeremy looking dude.
a little creepy.
Some Ron Jeremy dude telling us how to fix our back.
Yep,
That's interesting.
neutral spine at all times. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
How many books have you
Coach
read
Walsh.
since you came on the podcast in February?
How many books?
Yeah.
Probably 10, 12.
Oh.
And do you read it from cover to cover, or are you just like?
I'm cover to cover. I can't do that. The like section
have to
reading.
finish books.
I have to finish books. It's a weird thing about me.
Okay. Favorite
And-
book that you've had?
Ooh, favorite one? Since the podcast, because I hadn't finished it yet, was 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson.
You read that too, Mark.
I did. Yeah, it's up there. I was thinking that 7 Habits or Aubrey Marcus's book was really good too.
Wait, is there 2 Jordan Peterson books? 12.
No, 7 Habits.
7
I
Habits
had
is,
already read 7 Habits.
Stephen
Up and Coming.
Covey.
Yeah, that book rocks though.
It's
That's a
really
really good
good.
one too.
Okay. Sorry, Andrew. You had a question?
But the books, like both those books, the reason they're so good is all about setting your foundation in order. Like you were talking about, like getting your house in order. But both books are very similar in the fact that if you want to help anybody or you want to help the world, you want to do anything, like you have to start with yourself, fix yourself before you fix anything else.
Yeah.
They're very like similar on tracks there.
Okay. I liked. I saw this thing from Aubrey today, talking about Jordan Peterson. I think
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
similar thing. And
Yeah, I watched that too.
oh my god, it was so awesome. He was talking about how we spend like a lot of time, planning out what we want to be or how we want to make an impact or whatever it is, what goals we want to accomplish, but we don't spend enough time thinking about what we can do today to
Mhm.
get ourselves like at least a little bit closer to that ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we put ourselves out in those external realities and in the future, we tend to like overwhelm ourselves with that thought over and over and over when we miss the point of what's in front of us.
Yeah, and this is where I see this a lot. This is where I talk about the future of what I want to do is help people build brands and help people build their lives basically, because what I see more often than them being stuck in a physical realm of not being able to do what they want physically, fixing somebody's back is easy. It's how are they getting out of that anxiety filled realm of everything is in this negative feedback loop of they go to work, they work 60 hours doing something they hate doing, and when they get to the weekend they get 24 hours of what they feel like is their first time to breathe, and then because it's their first time to breathe, they're not able to take another step forward in life, and they just want to be free during that time. They're not pushing forward and trying to break people out of that anxiety filled thing of, oh, what's next, and then they stay in that loop because it's safe, and be able to try to break them out of that and just telling them the first step is to do something, like you mentioned, is taking that first small step to push forward and get out of that feedback loop. And I've been big into feedback loops recently. Is how do you get out of something that repeatedly tells you that you're safe, repeatedly tells you that you're fine when you know you're not, and you just keep getting put it, and you're surrounded by those people and you're surrounded by the same situation. How do you get yourself out of that and finding that catalyst to do that?
What is typically a loop breaker?
A loop breaker, a person for me, a light bringer. This is what I want to be able to do. But it's somebody telling you that you're in that loop and surrounding yourself with people after that. But a person, a book, something that basically tells you you're wrong straight to your face. For me, it was coaches in the past, and it's why I want to be a coach. And then books recently, like the 12 Rules for Life and 7 Habits, both have been very strong because they both just sit there and they don't they don't write my name in the book, but it's like pretty much, all right, this is you and you need to get out of that situation.
Interesting. Wow. That's fun. That blows my mind. I'm sitting back to normal now.
Yeah, I see you couldn't handle it. You started leaning back to your right.
tight.
I was
Yeah,
tight
already.
dude.
you were doing one of these. I was like, he's
I don't
toast.
think you guys understand. This thing it gives, dude. I might
Just relax on his glutes.
I don't know.
I feel like he needs to get a feedback loop person and tell him to.
unless I sit up here, dude.
Yeah,
go.
there you
Yeah, get
go.
on the edge, dude.
Attaboy, Techie. Way to challenge yourself.
Thanks, guys. Just tell me that I'm wrong, and that's how you break the loop, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we're
I
breaking
like what you
loops.
said about the first step too, like taking that first step. It's probably the hardest part, but it was funny because I watched the Aubrey Marcus video, and then right under it was Will Smith, and he was talking about it was an old video, but he was talking about him building a wall and how everybody wants to build a wall, and you want to build the biggest, most beautiful wall, and it's the same idea of looking forward. You're looking at the finished product, and it's stressful to look that far ahead, right? And but he was talking about the importance of just laying one brick every day, like lay the brick as perfect as you can lay it. I'm going to wake up every day and lay the best possible brick I can lay. And then if I do that every single day, by the end of it, I'm going to have that perfect wall. But that's all you can do, one day at a time. Lay the brick perfectly.
So
You got a wall.
what's one brick both of you have laid today? We're sitting here, by the way, for the marketing interns. We're sitting here at 9 p.m. on a Monday night, and Andrew accidentally scheduled this interview. Actually, we're playing it's going during the Steelers game. So I just want to say thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
You're a true warrior. Unbelievable.
I do it for Anatomy Tuesday.
You do it for these guys.
I tried to reschedule, and you guys were like busy. I'm like, all right, let's get it on. Let's get it on.
But bringing it back to the brick that you lay every day. This is something that's been big in my life, is realizing if I'm going to lead people, I really need to invest in building my own bricks and building my own wall, to where I take a lot of time of reading, researching, meditating, and physical health for myself, just because I know if I'm not providing value for myself and growing as a person, I have nothing to give other people. That's something where I started to realize like I'm overdrawn, and I'm not reading. I'm not doing these things because I'm so deeply in the business that I'm running out of things to give people. So that brick and what you're laying every single day, that's something that I've really, really invested in the past like 2 months. And business-wise, it's changed a lot of things for me. Just being able to have, all right, now I'm inspired. I have a new idea. I have something new that I can help people with because I'm actually investing. If I'm not growing as a leader, I have nothing to give people and I have nothing to help them with.
Yeah, and I think one really cool context piece too for everyone tuning in here is last time we had you on was around, I think it was February 19th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I mean, you blew us out of the water with your energy and everything with Jochum Strength. Since then, you've purchased a gym,
mm-hmm.
and now you have physical clients coming through your doors every morning. So again, speaking of bricks, you've built a gym.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That was a very, very long process. That was freaking awesome to like actually finish and just see the results, and now like growing from there. When I was here the first time, it was all the build up. Like everything was building up, everything was starting to move in the right direction, and it was really coming out of that valley. Being in that really dark spot, that's where I haven't really told anybody, but like where I want to like get it off the chest a little bit. That was in the same week. My girlfriend broke up with me. My best friend from high school attempted suicide, and then my grandma was in the hospital, and I was stuck in this valley. Like we talked about the valley just briefly on the other one, but I was dark. I was in a very dark spot, and the reason the gym started, the reason this momentum started, honestly, was because I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night, every night, and couldn't sleep, and didn't know where in life I was going and what the reason for life was and what I was doing. And I read a quote in a book. It was the 7 Habits book, and the quote said, when you look in a mirror, who stares back at you? And that was a quote that was like, I stood up. It was like 4 a.m. I just read this book, just read this quote, and I got up and I looked in the mirror, and I was like, holy shit, like that is not who I want to stare back at me. How can I fix this? And then how can I help other people fix that for themselves to where they don't have to get into that valley? And that's where the momentum built up to being able to build the gym itself. And the reason I say that is because the quote on my gym right above the mirror is, when you look in the mirror, who stares back at you? To every single day remind myself of, when I look in that mirror, I never want to see who I saw that day. I never want to see that person that was lost. I never want to see that person that wasn't a leader. I never want to see that person that was broken. I want to see somebody that's moving the world closer to where it needs to become. That's Jordan Peterson's thing that also changed my life, is every single action that you make either makes the world closer to heaven or hell. And every single time you look in that mirror, did you do everything you could that day to move the world closer to heaven rather than hell? And that's where the build up finally happened to, we have this physical spot for people to come in and help them with that. We do a lot of online stuff, a lot of business stuff like that. But when we're in that spot, when you guys are a part of Jochum Strength, that's really what we're shooting for.
You're awesome, man. And I'm proud of you for, sharing that with us, because you talk about being the light giver, or what is that the right terminology?
Light bringer.
Light bringer.
Yeah.
The light bringer. You are a light bringer to the people in this room, to the people that are listening to this right now. You might have saw some dark times, but you chose to take that ownership within your own arm's reach, and that was you personally, and you made that change. And we got to hear your story 7 months ago in February, and you've just been attacking. And you probably had some slow days, some days where you're like, man, am I really doing the best product? Am I putting out the best me? And yeah, we all have those days, but from overall, dude, like you are a different version than the person that I first met you, and I absolutely love both of them, but I love who you are and like how you're growing, and it's just awesome that I get to be around you as much as I can.
Yeah, thank you. Like you were talking about the you have slow days, and we talked about that too. It's just like sometimes it gets to be a grind with the podcast, sometimes it gets to be a grind with school. Mm-hmm. But that's where Jordan Peterson's quote of "Are you making the world closer to heaven or hell?" has really helped me of trying to get out of those inner demons of have you really done enough? Are you really pushing yourself hard enough? Are you really doing that? To even if you have a slower day like that and you feel like you're not pushing yourself to that max spot, can you drop back and can you say you made the world closer to heaven than hell that day? And that's something that's been really powerful for me to be able to kind of shut out. I got a lot of weird stuff going on in the head. I talk with Dowdle all the time. When you guys have Dowdle on here, he'll mention it too, but we talk about it. And just being able to shut that off for a little bit and have that little piece of you did what you were put on this earth to do.
Mm-hmm. And I think another thing too that's part of it is like far too often we look at the things like we don't have, and try and build something or build a future from those things that we don't have. I think what's really cool about like your approach and our approach, anybody's approach really, is like we're like trying to manifest a reality and a dream through what we have. Like, could Backpocket try and shoot for the stars and go for Rogan and all the biggest names in the world outside of the Twin Cities? Absolutely, but the most feasible thing that we can do right now is reach the people in our own backyard and interview over 100 people that are within 5 miles of us, and that's just scratching the tip of the iceberg. Same with you. You could be training and trying to get after clients and people all across the United States, but you choose to pick on the St. Thomas football community to start, and then growing your brand and everything just from that outwards. And I think, I mean, and same with you, Mark, you know, doing with everything with Anatomy Tuesday. Like, my favorite thing, and Andrew said it a couple weeks ago, was like, we are starting to realize that this podcast is more than a podcast. It's a platform to amplify everybody that we love. If it's you guys, perfect. If it's our other friends, if it's anybody that comes through the studio, we want to show their brand to everybody else. Mm-hmm. And now we've built like an audience, and we're continuing to build an audience that does exactly that. But it's, again, like it can get so misconstrued because it's continuing to grow that people forget that really the most impactful podcasts, most impactful people are the four of us and, you know, our friends that are in this room with us doing this thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I listened to something today where I was talking about if you want to start a business, if you want to start something, if you want to start a brand, you cannot think like an investor. Because an investor, when they see something like the Backpocket or they see something like Jochum Strength, it's going to be a risk and they're not going to do it. You need to see it as something like the quote in the thing was, you have one bullet in the gun, and if you miss, you're going to die. And that's what I think. You need to take that first step every single day, but you also need to have the thought process of every single thing you do is shooting for the stars, and you're like trying to grow at a ridiculous rate. And it's not with the investor mindset of, all right, this is going to be my next safe step to grow. This is going to be my next safe step. It's going to be the thought process of, all right, if this doesn't work, I don't have a safety net to be able to catch us. How are we going to make this happen? Because we got this one bullet. What are we going to do?
No plan B.
No plan B.
I like that.
No plan B. Laying bricks every day.
Perfect brick.
Perfect brick. Shark, I love how you let us into that. So now we got to ask you, what is your brick today?
My brick today, I try to keep it consistent every day. A couple things I have to do to lay that perfect brick every day is like kind of like Jochum was saying. It's like working on yourself, trying to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. But for me, it's getting a good sweat in every day. It's non-negotiable. Do something. If it's like get a lift, get a walk, a bike ride, a swim, whatever it is, like some type of movement, some type of exercise, huge. And then reading for me at night, like a couple pages before bed, just kind of decompress and get some more wisdom in the brain. But those little things, man, kind of taking care of yourself throughout the day and helps you get your mind right and help other people out too. So
absolutely.
Those are my little things.
It's not always the big things that you're like, oh, today I squatted 350 and I finished 5 books. Like, no, that's not going to help anyone. You're that's a burnout.
I'm burning out. Oh, I love that.
It's a repeat small things.
Yeah, just consistency, man. Lay the perfect brick.
That's phenomenal. Do you how many books have you finished this year? You've been reading
Since the last time we were on, I was thinking about this today. Actually, probably I'm gonna say, I think 8 or 9.
Since last November, it's been a full year.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Congrats, dude.
Hell yeah.
Thanks. I wanted to get 12, but it's tough.
Yeah, it's
Remember
tough.
I said that thing? It was like 10 pages every day for a whole year. Is like
3,600.
3,600, 12 300-page books.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. But close.
The fact that you came that close, though,
Yeah.
on top of all the other, like, think about all the other content or information through school that you're ingesting, putting 11 books on top of that is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even come close to that, and I'm not even reading, or I'm not even in school. I'm just being a knucklehead.
Yeah. It's been a big year. I've learned a lot this year. Like, I was thinking about since the last time I was on how much information I've really learned, and I kind of looked back at it the other day. But it was kind of that first couple months when I was in school when I came on. And it was intense, but it was that first trimester was so light compared to how much it ramped up in the next couple. So I was just like in the weeds for the last year, still am, but I looked back at it and I was like, how much I know now from a year ago is nuts. It's crazy. Like, I was looking at some of the material I was going over this week. And I was like, a year ago I had no idea what any of this meant at all. And now I'm like, it just drilled in my head. And then that, plus like getting to work on an Anatomy Tuesday project every week is like so much more information and just pounding it home and then reading books. So it's been a big year, a lot of learning this year.
Yes, sir, it has. Let's get into Anatomy Tuesday. So let's start with like how you guys came up with the idea. When was it? Like, when were the early inclinations of it happening, and when did you guys commit to it? And how have you been able to like just maintain Anatomy Tuesday and focus on different pieces of the body every week?
Yeah. So I was I was running on the football field doing sprints. I was probably 14 cups of coffee deep.
And a rain, or a brain. What is this called again?
A rain.
All right.
And maybe
Hold on, not every story starts with, all right, yeah, so I was running a couple sprints on the football field. Anyway, like, that just doesn't happen.
And
I don't do that.
I sent probably a 3-page text to Mark. I was freaking amped.
Yeah, that literally was the text I got. I was golfing, and I got a text from him, and I just stopped and read the whole thing. And it was just fired me up right away. But the first sentence was like, I'm so jacked up on caffeine right now. Here's my idea. And I just responded, I love it. Let's do it.
And this is one thing that I love that he said is from last year to this year, the amount of growth that we've had, that he's had, like, knowledge-wise. I say it all the time, like, if I don't look back in a year and think everything that I did was stupid, like, I did not grow. I did not do my job as a human to progress. And this is what we talked about our first time putting on Anatomy Tuesday. We're like, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Like, we literally talked to each other like, this is going to suck, but we got to do it. Because if we don't do it, then it's not for real. It's not out there. People aren't expecting this. We don't have our pressure on it. And we're not going to grow. So we're like, this is going to suck, but we're going to put it out there. We're going to do this. And from there, from our first video to now, it's crazy. We hired a guy, Marcus, who's just been crushing all the video work for us. And he makes our first videos look.
Yeah, they're atrocious. I watched the hamstring one the other day, but the growth has happened. It's happening. It's going to keep getting better.
And that's the best part, right?
Yeah.
You started it without any expectations, and you weren't like, oh, this content isn't perfect, I'm not doing it. No, you were like, I want to put out content. I want to better my brain to hopefully better others' body. And you just continue to put it out there, and then you slowly refined it week by week. You didn't go away. You continue to get a little bit better. You found another person that could help you. I mean, you messaged us on that first week saying, how do you reformat this blank to get on IGT, blah blah blah.
Jochum's using like 30 different apps to try and figure it out.
That
like,
first video took probably 3 days to figure out how to get on Instagram, and we still couldn't do it. And all I did was end up splitting the video into like 16 different 1-minute videos to put on Instagram.
10-minute video.
It was the most frustrating thing I've ever done in my life.
Exactly.
I was so mad.
So what do? You outsource that. You bring in another guy, and he helps you clean that part up so you can focus on the product. And you've been able to refine it, get better at it. And let's go through some of these body parts, man. Let's educate our listeners. What has been like one that you're like, this one has been our best video? People are really vibing with, the glutes or maybe the pecs, to name a few, hamstrings.
Yeah.
Well, we
Dude,
haven't
I
done
think-
pec week yet, but
I thought foot week
foot
was
week.
killer.
I
man.
was gonna say foot week.
We got a
was-
lot of good feedback on the feet, and still, I'll say the feet are the most important part of the body, and so that was
Wow,
probably.
you're going there
I'm gonna.
Oh,
on this
I mean,
podcast.
yeah,
Wow.
I might just
Okay.
drop the mic right now and say the feet are
Fellas.
the most important thing.
yeah.
Every-
If you go by the stream theory or anything, every single motion that you have starts at your foot.
Mm-hmm.
And if your feet aren't right, the rest of your body's going to be jacked up. It doesn't matter how much you fix your hip flexors or your knees or your upper back or your lats. If your feet are messed up, if you're not taking care of your feet, your body's going to hurt for.
Yeah.
So how do we take care of our feet? I know they can go to Anatomy Tuesday, but just
Mhm.
a couple quick hitters right here.
Barefoot movement as much as you can.
Be barefoot as much as you can.
Like
Get
no
out-
socks. Socks even are.
Socks
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 count.
are cool.
Okay.
Just don't
Yeah.
want to dirty your socks. Maybe.
Yeah. But it's the shoes, really, like just being in cushy shoes, not being able to really feel the ground underneath you, I guess.
Mhm.
What about those feet shoes? Those ones that fill each one of your toes.
Yeah, I don't know too much about them, to be honest.
I haven't done my research
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
But the minimalist shoes, where it's got no arch support, those are the
Mhm.
best for working out.
Yeah. Well, barefoot's the best for working out.
Oh,
but
barefoot, sure.
yeah. And then being able to focus when you're working out on individual toes and arches in your foot has been a big thing, a big game changer for a lot of the athletes that I'm working with, is just being able to get them to activate that foot between. One thing we showed on the NMA Tuesday, if you roll out the bottom, if you do a hamstring stretch and then you roll out the bottom of your foot and then you do a hamstring stretch after, you gain like 25% more range of
You're
motion.
kidding.
And then you can also do test of if you activate your big toe and pinky toe. If you do a vertical jump and then you activate your big toe and pinky toe and you do the vertical jump again, you can gain 1 to 2 inches just doing that. And it's a simple like 10-second exercise.
Oh.
How does one activate the big toe and the pinky toe?
A simple one you can do like now, they're just called toe curls. You can spread your feet, think about spreading your toes as far as possible, and then pull them all the way up and then squeeze them into the ground, but keeping them spread as far as possible. And you can do like set of 10 of these before you
Okay.
jump. It'll be a good one.
Okay. I like that. In terms of, are there any good moments in terms of feedback from the people after putting out video after video? Have you had any good like success stories or people buying into Anatomy Tuesday?
Two things there. I think we've made it a more, what we've learned through the audience is if we go so in depth that nobody is taking anything away from that,
Mhm.
those are the videos that are people like, all right, that was cool, but
Mhm.
you're speaking at the level that you guys have studied this for 6 years. We don't care about that. We want what you can take home now. So trying to simplify it, we've talked about that. And then trying to make it entertaining. So you provide entertainment while you provide knowledge, and being able to grow in that realm is something that I really think putting them out and not knowing what our thought process with it was going to be. We've grown through the feedback of, oh, I thought that was really funny and I took this away. I've heard that about every Anatomy Tuesday that we've had a joke in. I thought it was funny, then I took this away. And if we don't have as much humor, we make it more sciencey. People don't say that and they don't really watch
Mhm.
them.
Got it. Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah. And we've talked about it too, but we're already on this train of covering basically each muscle group, super in depth. I mean, like our YouTube videos are all 7 to 10 minutes long, and then the Instagram are just like quick clips. But now that we're so far like through everything that we've done, we just got to stick with it at this point. But we're excited to kind of get to the next phase and start breaking things down a little bit more and simplify it even more, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a couple exercises here and there, good take-home stuff. Whether it's just like a quick injury prevention tip, or it'll keep evolving and growing, and I think it'll be able to help people out a lot more.
So for you,
We
Mark,
did.
I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is probably great for you in terms of like actually putting your information that you're learning to action.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of that, how has it been coaching and communicating those things that you learn that are just in your head? How has that been actually verbalizing that on a camera?
It's tough. It's tough to do, but it's so beneficial. Like I think that drills into your head 10 times more if you can get in front of a camera, which I'm not good at being in front of a camera.
You're
but
great in front of a camera.
Getting in front of a camera, memorizing it all, getting it out to people in a way that they can understand for the most part, and trying to educate people with it. I mean, that makes it stick in your head so much more. So that's been huge for me.
And followers of Anatomy Tuesday know the rule that we have one take. Everybody knows
one
the
take.
rules. So
One take.
yeah.
I love that you guys are adopting that. More people just need to do it in one take.
Mhm.
Be transparent about it, because you're not gonna be good the first time.
Y- y-
And that was
Yeah.
pretty. You guys, with the 10 carousel posts. Yeah, that was. We can work on that. You guys should throw you should repost that as like the actual nicely posted IGTV one. And what's cool now is Instagram just came out with this feature where you can have series now. So you guys can have a whole Anatomy Tuesday series, dump all your videos in there, and then people can just watch them all in one little package.
Very nice.
Yeah.
IGTV is taking off.
You think so?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I don't know.
It works.
But is there room for, a collaboration? Can the Backpocket join an Anatomy Tuesday? And if so, what would be the body part of choice off the top of your head?
So actually, we're not looking for more dudes. we're kind of looking.
That's a good idea.
We're kind of looking for a female. What we've
just like a one special appearance.
I'm in for some collaboration.
I want to make an appeance.
Maybe a light one. But what we've noticed with competitors of Anatomy Tuesday is all these they'll have like solid viewers, like 40,000 views, 40,000 views, 40,000 views. They put one chick on there, there's like 140,000 views.
Yep.
You guys know the formula.
We know the
formula. If we have more dudes, our click rating is going to go down, but you get one chick up and to the right.
One woman. One nice girl.
One nice girl.
Chicks get clicks, but you can have a nice fitness girl on.
Yeah.
So for anybody listening, do you have any
no, this is just our
white
plea.
whales?
This is our plea.
This is your plea.
This is our plea
Okay.
for a girl to come on Anatomy Tuesday with us.
Oh God, you guys would actually blow up if we did. If we did like Rump Week. God, that would be awesome. I would be all for it. Yeah, but you should definitely do that. Let me know what your findings are.
I'm in to collaborate though.
Yeah.
We'll get something together.
So what would be the body part of choice? What do you think we could bring? What would we offer? I'm thinking.
We could fix Decky's lower back on there.
Can you fix my baby arms?
Yeah, we can work.
Get you guys on for bicep week.
I have weak calves, but you already did calf week.
We already did calf week. Yeah.
What haven't you guys done yet?
The front of the body. We're working our way up. So we did all the back side.
Did the
And
whole
now-
posterior chain coming up the front. We just did quads and adductors.
Yep, we just had groin week is dropping tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
We got
damn.
hip flexors. Wednesday night we're doing that.
yeah, Wednesday night hip flexors, and then we.
Decky and I row a lot. We do a lot of the row machine. Is there anything that would
That's total body.
That's
brag.
not to brag? Well, I row for meters.
There's a lot of core in there, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of core in there.
Yeah.
We could get you for the 6-pack week.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't fall into that though. I don't got a 6-pack.
We could do
Oh,
some
go on.
spray tan.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
we
paint
could
on
do
there.
that.
Yes.
We
That
should
could be
get.
fun.
Can we do spray tans?
Yeah.
Actually, that shit would be funny as hell if we did spray tans.
So
Get
the
Steve
gym,
involved, too.
the gym.
Yeah,
is,
there's a tanning salon
Yeah,
right there.
so the gym that we're in is 400 square feet. It's this like little dark dungeon. And right before everybody texts me when they come to the gym the first time, they're like, "I'm at some tanning salon," because when you walk in the door, it's this big tanning salon. So we could go to the tanning salon first and actually utilize them, and then walk to the gym.
I've never
Yeah.
been to one, but that excites me. That's
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
content.
no, this sounds
We'll vlog the whole thing.
exactly. That's what I'm thinking is
Mhm.
a little prequel or a little pre-sode would be us all just sprinting into this place for our tans, and then us being blatantly a different color for
It's
the
gonna be
actual production. That'd be very fun.
The intro is the hardest
Gamble.
part to come up with,
Damble.
and now we just got our
Yeah,
intro.
yeah. The intros are tough.
I was gonna tell you guys the intros, like I've always been throwing my 2 cents in there. I think if you guys get like a solid like I don't know, small creative like intro, it doesn't have to be consistent the whole every single time, but just like a good example that is simple and effective is like, have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yep.
Okay, so you know how it always starts with like, I mean, they have an actual intro, but once the episode starts, it just like in black, it flashes like season 3 episode, whatever, and then the name of the episode. But throughout that whole time, you hear them like talking shit in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can do something like that, or just have like B-roll moments, like a quick thing
Yeah.
of like Jochum saying something or you saying something, and then it goes black, and then it goes right into the episode or something.
I think Marcus has talked about that.
Yeah,
The little
Marcus,
intro thing together.
our camera guys, were working on that. We also we gave birth.
You're kidding, dude.
So we gave birth last week. It'll drop tomorrow
Yeah.
for groin week. That was probably our most risky,
Controversial.
Yeah.
controversial.
That was the most rattled I've been by a intro.
So he delivered my baby. So you
I
guys,
saw like a preview on Instagram.
Yep.
yeah, so you
that
guys
was
will-
it.
So I'm excited to see the full
You'll
content.
have to check
Yeah.
that one out.
That'll be
It's good.
already released.
It all. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We should preface it by saying that a lot of the research we were doing with the adductors
Oh, this.
because this just makes sense, but like there were so many articles and stuff about pregnancy and how pregnancy is an extreme sport,
Yeah.
which it is. I mean, it's insane,
So
a lot on the body, but the adductors are a big part of it. So that's a good intro into just letting people know why we gave birth.
Yeah, I was deep in the rabbit hole, and the article headline was "Childbirth is the new extreme sport," and I'm like, I'm out of here.
No, that's great clickbait. It sounds like
Yeah,
whoever's running that.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's good fun. The so you guys are coming out with one a week, right? Every Tuesday.
Yep.
We try
What's the prep look like in terms of actually gaining the information for whatever week it is next week and then filming it? What does it look like?
We just kind of work our way up so we know what muscle group we're doing. As soon as we finish every episode, we talk about what are we doing next week, and then it's basically just kind of on both of us. We kind of have a format of what each of us cover and have an outline, so we break it down. Like mine is more anatomy, injury, rehab, that kind of stuff. Austin is sports performance, exercises, applying it all. And so each of us just kind of break it down, do our own research throughout the week, and put some hours into that. And then we got a big Google Doc going, type it all in, and comes together.
On whenever we meet up.
Yeah.
So Decky, you'll like this one. From the 4-hour work week, one of their things they suggested doing was hiring a virtual assistant.
A VA.
Yeah. So I have Maz from Portugal. And he's been doing a lot of stuff for me. He types up a bunch of stuff. But one of the things he's doing now is I send him 4 websites to go to, and then I send him the muscle that we're doing that week, and then all he does is copy and paste everything from the websites, and he'll put in a doc for me and then send it over. So
And he knows like
automating
what
everything.
useful things to pick out, or
No,
is it
no. So
literally
he just-
bulk copy?
Yep. So he'll search if we do hip flexors. He'll search hip flexors on their forum websites. That's all we do. It's the same thing. We search everything through these, and then we get all the information that we need from the books or the websites that we use. So he'll go to the top 4 websites that I usually go to, and he'll get everything in a Word doc for me, and then I just sift through. But it's what I do anyways. So
That's amazing.
yeah. So it's interesting seeing working with him, and
Shout out Moss. Did you go to Upwork for that?
I did. Yep.
Yeah,
Upwork.
That's
Yep.
hilarious, man.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it been coaching your VA up?
Fun, interesting. There's a language barrier that we're working on and figuring things out. He he sends out some emails and stuff like that, and trying to let him do a little bit more. And some of the emails he sends out, we just gotta keep growing in that world and correct it. He sends me some of the drafts, and one of the things that he does for me is I write up a bunch of programs on a piece of paper, and I take a picture and send it to him. And one of the biggest things is getting that program on a piece of paper into an Excel sheet. And then we have YouTube links that link everything up to it. And I'll send him something, and then he'll type it up. And if the handwriting's wrong, or if it's not a word that he's used to, the word that goes in there is kind of jacked up. But he's growing. He's growing.
Is he appreciative of it, or appreciative of his
The most polite person I've ever met in my entire life.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I get 100 thank yous a day.
And is he into strength and fitness?
No, not at
No,
all.
not at all.
You're
Not at
not
all.
training Maz.
Ooh,
I am not.
Could you be training him? Is he interested in getting trained?
He is not interested in getting
Okay.
trained.
You never asked, or
We've discussed a little bit about fitness, and not a lot there.
Do you guys like video chat ever, or is it all over
Video
email?
chatted the first couple times,
That's
just to
nice.
get to know who he
That's
was,
nice.
to see if I wanted to hire him, and then it's just chats.
Lovely.
that is
He's a
so
baller though.
awesome.
He messaged me 5 times a day, just checking out, and I'm like, yeah,
I need to get one of those.
yeah.
Sounds amazing.
good
How
call.
we can bleep this out if you don't want this public, but how much does he charge per hour?
$5.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, I use a VA as well for the job I'm doing with Caleb.
Okay.
For digital marketing, we have 2 VAs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they either screen record, I do a screen record while they're on with me, and then they're just writing down every single thing that I'm doing, so we can create a manual off of these giant procedures that I can do to eventually outsource that. So they're just watching me and just typing it up, and then they send it over, and then I'll read it and make sure they got everything right or make some edits. That's it's one of the things they do.
That's been the biggest thing for me, is trying to be creative in ways of how do I utilize them. So I like that point, but what can I automate? The 4-hour work week talks about that, but if you really don't know what you can automate, I don't think you know your business well enough. So I think it allows me to take a bigger, grander step back from everything and realize what are small steps that are slowing me down, and how can I take out of them, like step out of them.
Right? Because your business isn't successful until you don't need to be in the business.
Correct.
If you can completely remove yourself and your business is still going to ride and do exactly as it should with you in it, then you're riding in the right direction. So that is the right mindset to getting that going right now, because obviously you need to be in the business. You are the business.
Yeah.
But if you can start thinking slowly of how can I remove myself from this situation and then this situation, that's awesome. I love that you're doing that right now.
Yeah, I love that book. That book was sweet. So Decky recommended
Did you
that
finish
one.
it?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was like a 2-day read. I was so into that one. That one was,
dude.
I ate that one up.
Bro, I
So
tried
good.
reading that in summer of junior year. I got like 120 pages in. I was highlighting a ton of things and underlining it, and then nothing was like clicking because I didn't really have anything to apply it to mentally.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, this is so out of my element. And then Deck read it, and he was like, you need to get back into it. And I haven't done it.
I read the red dad in the or dad in the red convertible BMW, and not being basically that suburban dad. And as soon as I read that, I'm like, I'm finishing this book. And I was like,
What
this
is the context on that one again?
So that his whole point is you need to find somebody that if you ever become the red dad or the dad with the red BMW convertible, you ever become that suburban dad is just living the average life. You need to have somebody in your life that tells you like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you need to shoot for something greater. You need to become something greater, and not being that average person that's just going through life. And that,
More so like being satisfied with having the red BMW convertible. essentially.
correct. Yeah. Yep.
Got
and
it.
just living that average life.
The final poem that he has in that book to finish it off is like, I'll go back and
Yes.
read that
Yeah.
every once in a while. It talks about like time and stuff and how, it's just amazing.
Well, and the one of my other favorite parts of the book was his the Chinese fisherman,
Yes.
where he talks about how this Chinese fisherman every single day is fishing for a couple hours, then he comes back in, has his catch, he sells it to people, and then he goes and hangs out with his friends for the rest of the day because he's done. And this American businessman comes in and like talks about this whole plan about what he can do and how he can grow this business and make it huge. And then the Chinese fisherman asks like, what happens when I retire? What happens when it's done? And the American business guy goes, oh, you'd be doing the same thing you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point of pushing forward like that?
You can go fish and hang out with your friends all night. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm already doing that. I read that in the Jimmy John's. Yeah, it's on the wall in Jimmy John's. I
Yeah,
love that
no way.
parable. Yeah. Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
I have a picture of it on my phone. It's fantastic. But I think we got to get to the bottom of it, but the one in Jimmy John's is a Mexican fishing man, not a Chinese man. I don't know if it's the same, but
Interesting.
same story.
Jimmy John's is ripping it off.
Yeah, we
No,
gotta-
it's the old, you tell a story, and what's the game? Pickle? When you pass it around?
Telephone.
Telephone?
Pickle.
I don't know why pickle. But telephone, yeah. It's the old telephone, you know?
totally.
Word from the wise.
There's nothing you can do there.
Yeah.
But you were mentioning average earlier, and I think we had like a little off-air conversation about average and how when we ask people their average quality on the show, we try and frame it in a sense of like, hey, it's not something like you're terrible at, but a lot of the time, even myself, I will think of my average quality as something I just suck at. And so I want to ask you guys, do you look at it more as something that you care about that you want to get better at, or do you think of it as something that you just like blatantly suck at and need to avoid?
I think both in that regard. It's something that I suck at, and it's not a good part of my life, but that I need to grow in and I need to get after. I thought I was bringing this point up of how I think it's funny when you bring on St. Thomas football guys to where the word average has been beat in their head, that average is equal to terrible, average is equal to bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when a UST football guy or person comes on here and you say average, it's something that they're, what the actual
Word is intended for.
where it's just something they're mediocre at. And I always thought that was funny is when you bring a football guy on here, he talks about something, average turns into something that is bad. And it's a bad term that they need to get better at that, and they need to improve that in their life. And if it's not a UST person, it's something that, it's just that in their life.
Mm-hmm. We just had KJ the comedian on, and his average quality was having courage. And I thought it was the best answer we've ever received out of the 170
Sweet.
podcasts we've done, because the way he articulated it is, you know how hard it is to have that courage in the toughest situations. And it's not like he's not having courage and that's what's making him average at it, but just putting yourself through that time and time again and overcoming it, like that mental state isn't like it's so hard to maintain all the time. You can't there's not a single soul, if you're being genuinely honest with yourself, there's not a single soul that is that is number one, always good at it. Not even, you could put Jocko Willick, and I'm thinking of him right now, who puts his watch on the Instagram every day and you see him all in this perfect light. But I'm guessing there are, in every single moment, that is so hard to maintain, just this courageous atmosphere, especially doing what he's doing, trying to make people laugh and making them in a vulnerable state and embracing these tough situations. And like, I just absolutely was eating it up when he was sitting there. And it's not like, and that, I guarantee you, KJ did not put more than like 10 seconds into that thought. He read it and he's like, he was just being true and he was being honest. He wasn't trying to put on some facade. That was him. And I was like, that is what I want out of this answer every single time.
Yeah.
It's someone being that honest with themselves and sharing something like that. And I thought that was dope.
That's awesome, dude.
That's awesome. He was so cool. Like, and it's starting to become a trend too. And Andrew, you can back me up. Like, I
think we're just doing better at articulating it, or it could be a bit of both.
Oh, in terms of the average quality, absolutely. Instead of
where were you going with it?
I was saying, like, getting on comedians has been a weird niche that has developed really, really good, honest answers to like the average quality in the back pocket question. Because they're just so like blatantly honest and open about saying whatever the hell they want.
I was gonna say, that's the type of person that has to be a comedian, is somebody that is 100% always open, because if they're not and they get on stage, somebody's going to realize that person's not real. Like, get him off the stage. That person's not funny because he's not being open.
We're not getting like the cooking answers from these people. Like, when
he just shits on the cooking answers.
It's so bad. Like, you if you tell me cooking, you didn't think. You didn't put any time and effort into it.
Or you just missed the
question and you just heard me articulate it for the first time to you. And it's like, all right, you came up with cooking, all right. And
how many people are you offending right now?
It doesn't matter. It's so many. Like, upwards of 20 people have said that.
But I mean, it's probably our fault too. Like, we own it a little bit.
But let me just say, when we get the cooking, Deck and I have to act like it's a good answer. And we're sitting here. We're sitting here. Oh, cooking. Oh, let me guess.
What's your go-to meal?
Breakfast.
Oh, every time. Dude.
Every time. It's
every
so
time.
funny.
Yeah.
But there's definitely the ranges of people going with it, and that's why we love asking it, because everyone can look at it differently. So it's time in the podcast where we get to break down all 4 of our average qualities. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the man of the hour, the man who's just been the voice of reason, the voice of life, my light bringer every day, Austin Jochum. What is your average quality?
Yeah, so it's something that I figured out 2 months ago in my life, and it's something that I wrote up on my at my office desk. I have a piece of tape just up there, and what it says, it's not about you, it never was. And that's something that opened up my life. I was living a lot of my life through trying to push myself forward and trying to bring myself forward, trying to accomplish things. And what I really need to take a step back of realize, like, nothing that I do, the reason I was given these talents, the reason I was given this ability, the reason I was put on this earth, the reason I am in this spot, I went to UST for college, like, I'm just surrounded by so many positive people, is not because of me, and it's not to push me forward. It's to bring everybody else around me forward. Like, that's the reason you're given talents. That's the reason you guys are able to communicate with people. It's to help other people go forward. And what I need to constantly remind myself is, it's a battle of ego every single time. You need the ego that pushes you forward in life. You need the ego that allows you to grow, and those inner demons that tell you you're not good enough so you become good enough, but then not allowing that to take over, to think you're doing that for yourself. You're doing it for other people. You're doing it for other things, doing it to better the world, make it closer to heaven than hell. And every single day and it's weird. My ego, like, I have a high ego, and if I don't read that quote every single morning and every single time before I leave, I'll allow it to take over eventually. So I need to remind myself, it's not about me. It never was. That's not why I was given these things. And it's something I need to grow in, to where I don't have to read it every day. It's just something that's a part of me. It's something that's how I'm living my life. So that's something that I really needed to work on.
Damn, that's awesome. And that goes along the lines of what we were just talking about. That is well thought out, just being open and honest, and you trying to make yourself better every day. Good work, Jochum.
Yeah, we introed with the whole KJ thing to make sure that you guys weren't going to say cooking.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you nailed it, dude. You absolutely nailed it. But I think it's really cool. I mean, just like that aspect of selflessness and like maintaining, like, or I guess not maintaining, how people would maybe perceive you from time as like Jochum's crushing it. Jochum started this business. Jochum has a gym now. Jochum. When really, like, looking into the mind of Jochum is everything but Jochum. It's the people around him that he's coaching. It's the people buying into his fitness logs, his actual coaching, and it's far more than fitness. It's now, how can I make people better? And you're grabbing all this information from every source you possibly can.
And Moss can.
And yeah, and you got your VA, dude, and you're building a dynasty.
Well, that's Coach Caruso says that all the time is don't judge me on what I'm doing. That's my father's legacy. Judge me on what my kids do. I think that's really important. It's what you are doing and who you are and what you're doing in life and the situations you're in is not, you did nothing there. Like, you just took advantage of the situations that were given to you. And there's a lot of people that weren't given those situations, weren't given those opportunities. So judge me on what I grew, what I allowed, and what I pushed forward, not on what I did, because I'm a collection of everything that's been put into me.
I love that, man.
Good work, Jochum. All right,
Shark.
Marky.
I gotta follow that up.
Or should we play? Should we do a little pass the torch?
Yeah, should we do like a...
We go back to me.
Yeah, go back to the back pocket.
boys.
We'll come back.
All right.
Let me think
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
for a second.
I can jump in here. This happened this weekend. I learned. This is a great moment for me, actually. My average quality is my dancing. So I was able to, do a little costume party down the street with Jack Burke and the boys, and Mark and Deck weren't there this time around. And lo and behold, Andy broke out all the moves that Mark and Deck usually have,
Yes.
and I was killing the dance floor.
Yes.
I was like, I don't have a go-to move necessarily. I got a couple, but they're not gonna make the crowd go nuts. It's gonna make my boys laugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
The shoulder roll.
The shoulder roll,
Yep.
exactly. And I was just doing that because I was like, that's all I could think of. And I was having the time, and I was just picturing Deck the whole time, and I was just repeating Deck moves, and then I was picturing Mark, and I was repeating Mark moves, and it was hilarious. So that's my average quality.
That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
You do believe in them, though.
I believed
you
him
have belief?
wholeheartedly. No,
There you
I
go.
was like, I had an out of body experience
Mhm.
at one point where like I am Mark Amick right
Mhm.
now, and then everyone was like, and I was in the middle, and it was a glorious moment. So I was living Mark's best life
I love
in
that.
the dance circle.
Good. I'm
Mhm.
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that great dance moves aren't the moves themselves, but they're the belief behind the moves. Like, if you believe you have the best dance moves on the dance floor, you have the best moves on the dance floor. It doesn't matter.
I
You
gotta
just
give
get
a
out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in high school one time I was in the middle of a dance circle, and this was before people started hyping me up that I was a good dancer, but I was just in the middle of this thing, and some kid comes up to me after. He's like, dude, how'd you get so good at dancing? And in high school, I said, it's just belief. It's just belief. That's all it is.
That's phenomenal.
I want to give a shout out to Mark and Declan because, like Andrew said, when you're on a dance floor with these two, it's so much easier to dance because like they're taking a spotlight and you just like kind of just
In the background, right?
copy a little bit of what they're doing, and like their belief is so high, they're like, oh hell yeah, like I know what I'm doing, kind of
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I'm busting this out, and
Aspire.
it's amazing.
And I've seen it so many times. Like, I gotta do that, and they weren't there, so I'm like, I'm going in.
That's huge. That's
That
huge.
makes me so happy. But it also kind of makes me realize just now, like, kind of goes back to my whole thing of like, I never really know how I'm perceived. But at the same time, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So it's very funny to hear that you put me in the same box as Mark, because I look at Mark as a great dancer, the guy who does the splits in front of a million girls on a boat for a boat party. Like, that is my favorite video of Mark of all time. But like, I'm in that video too, sprinting with my
The
sailing.
sprinting is my
But like,
favorite.
think about how like dumb that dance move is. I'm sprinting in place, and like the one
People
thing that
love it though, man.
like, people freaking eat it up.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
No, for all the people on YouTube right now, the best one is when you put your hands out here and you go like this. I was doing that.
It's so
It's
easy.
so
dude.
easy.
A
It's
little
so
bit of
funny. Yeah, the Doomer special.
Yeah, but again, back to your point, dude. Like, you
Just
Doesn't
act like-
matter.
just believe.
if you believe, you can grand slam any
That's right.
dance party.
If you truly believe.
You can do anything, dude.
All you have to do is believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what this is all about, dude.
All right, we'll throw it back to your side of the room,
All right.
Sharky.
Average quality, I'm going to go with my anxiety. And
Ooh.
you guys know, but for those who don't know, I'm a very anxious person, or at least I was an incredibly anxious person in the past. So, like, debilitating anxiety in high school where I wasn't doing the things I wanted to do because I was so anxious about it. And so it's something that I've worked at really hard over the past couple of years, and I've gotten a lot better at it. And still so far from where I want to be, but I think a good average quality because I've taken the chances to improve a lot by just putting my neck out there and trying new things, and regardless of how I feel about it, just doing it and learning from all the experiences. And the more you do that, the less anxious you get, the more prepared you are for the next situation. And so that's one of those things that I have struggled with and gotten so much better at and want to continue to get better at. And
That's
awesome, man.
And I think that's very clear with Anatomy Tuesday. Like,
Yeah.
if I were to tell you a year ago you'd be on camera telling everybody about different parts of the body, what would you say?
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Not super anxious about that, but
I just think you are coming from someone that has lived with you for 4 years. Not saying you weren't very happy during those times, but you are just you're whenever I'm around you, and I don't get to see you all the time, so maybe that plays into it, but you're just very happy.
Yeah.
And not like a facade happy, like you're putting on a face just to be with your friends and everything. You're genuinely just in a good spot.
yeah, man. I think that's the biggest part of it is now I'm so much more present all the time now. Like anxiety, like by definition, is just kind of the fear of the unknown, right? Like you're always looking ahead, and you're always looking at like the future and trying to kind of map things out, and you have this irrational fear of what's going to happen. And I think that's the biggest improvement, is just like not worrying about that, right? The future is anxiety, so like just being as present as I possibly can be. And that's been huge for me, man. Like I've gotten so much better at just being present, enjoying every moment, and like every day laying that perfect brick and just trying to take care, control what I can control today. And that's the biggest part, man. But really focusing on that, I think, like you hit on the head, like I'm so much happier now, so much more present, and that's the biggest part of it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Proud of you,
Congrats,
Shark.
brother.
Thanks, boys.
That's amazing. And going kind of right off what you were saying, my average quality, and I've struggled with this for greater part of the last 2 years for sure, is just being present. And it's another way of saying like having anxiety, but I don't think I really have much anxiety. I really don't think about any of the stuff that I end up just doing. And doing is the only option.
Right.
Mine is more so like thinking about how I can build out an idea that I have and trying to just put myself a couple steps in front of me all the time. So like booking the last 17 guests or whatever it was to finish off season 3. I'm finally done with that, but during the entire month of October, I'm like communicating with like 9 different people through Backpocket. My current day job, I'm communicating with like 20 to 30. And that at the same time, I'm like trying to eat lunch and like send an email out. It was insane, still kind of is, but man, it's been so fun to be able to like go to something like yoga on a Sunday. And when Vinny at Alter asks you, what are your intentions for today? And simply saying just to be present and trying to get as much as you can out of that has paid dividends, man. And that's what I found comedy to be too. Like being able to, be in a stress-ridden day on a Wednesday where you're sprinting from workout to work to podcast, and then when 7:30 hits, okay, in 30 minutes I'm going to be on stage in front of a bunch of people. Like you have to lock in at that point, otherwise you're going to flop. And understanding like, dude, comedy, like it's fun. I bomb all the time. No one thinks I'm funny at times. People think I'm really funny other times. It doesn't matter. Like the action at that point in time is really all that matters. And that is my favorite part. And it's been one of those things that's just allowed me to reset every single time to just allow me to do what I love.
Well, I think that's something that football like allowed for all of us, is the 2 hours a day of not having to worry about anything else, and like you were suited up and you were just able to go. And I think a lot of people, like when they lose that sport, they lose that 2 hours of your day to reset and refocus and be in the moment. That's where I struggle. And especially for me is when I lost that 2 hours of resetting and being in the moment, and it's like, all right, what do I do now? And now I have to think about everything in life, and that the anxiety actually hits and you have nothing to counterbalance it. I think that's like an awesome point of finding something in your life that you have that allows you to reset. With Decky, it's comedy. With me, it's the gym. And finding what it is in your life to be able to do that for yourself.
Yeah.
That's so important, man.
It's crazy. Yeah. I'm just getting those I just get in all those holes too, where it's just like I start to like believe in these realities that I've created that are not even true yet.
Mm-hmm.
So like for this show that I have coming up, like KJ gives me 10 minutes on his showcase, and I just met the guy like 5 minutes ago, and I was like, yes, hell yeah, like I crushed tonight. I now have this thing, and then 2 weeks later, coming into it like 10 days out, I'm like, I've never done 10 minutes of comedy in my life. Like I barely have a good 4-minute set ever. Like how am I supposed to put together 10 in front of an audience that I've never even known?
I feel like you have to do that. You have to have that mindset of the why not you.
Exactly.
I write that on like a lot of the players' lockers that I feel like have that, like they're not sure if they're like, why not you? Like, why can't Declan do that? Like, why can't he have that 10-minute show, and then why can't he have that hour show, and then why can't he be the one bringing people on with him because he's the host, you know, like he's the main guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's when like you have to play the fine line of like the fuck you mentality. Like you can't be an arrogant asshole all the time, but when you have that 10 minutes, you have to think like, I am going to go up there and I am the best.
Yeah.
And that's not a wrongful thought in any way, shape, or form. It's not you being cocky. That's not you being, and that goes for like you're in a position of leadership. You have to show that you own it. And that means you're believing in yourself and you're believing what you're saying. So if you go up, if you're 10 days out and you're like, I don't think I can do this, I don't know if I have 10 minutes, you're not going to do it. You're not going to have your 10 minutes. But if you go up there and you're like, I'm going to fucking kill this, and you're going to enjoy every minute of it. And that's what KJ was saying just a few hours ago, is like, you just got to go up there and be like, this is hilarious that I'm up here making people laugh. And if I am sucking, then like that is hilarious in itself. And this guy was like, he's 56 years old and he couldn't even remember how to pronounce your name, and he gave you 10 minutes. And he was cracking us up for an hour and a half, and he believes in you because he wants to give another person a chance. And I'm guessing you were going to lead into something similar.
Yeah, it just goes like Coach K is like no off switch. Yeah, it's very similar. No cruise button to like slow down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I catch myself in that all the time, where it's like, just like you were talking about earlier, Mark, with being in the weeds for like the last year of just like work. You look up and you're like, yo, this is nuts. Like this is crazy. Like I verbalized my day one day to my dad. He was like, how's your day? I was like, all right, let me tell you how my fucking day is, dude. I was like, all right, I woke up at 5, or it was the day that I flew in from Portland. Like I flew out at like midnight, got into work at 5, worked from 5 to like 4, then went home, took an hour nap, and then then had the IO podcast, and then had the Let's Float podcast, and I think we were done at like 9 or 9:30.
And we finished a bottle of whiskey and 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah. Oh, it was insane. But it was just like, those are the days in this past month and a half where we've pretty much consistently done that every single Monday, including this one right now. And it's like, God, it's the funnest thing, man. Like Andrew and I were talking about this season of like all the different weeks, like what were our favorite days or moments on the podcast. And yeah, Bocello was great, and the live show was really fun. But oh my God, when we were able to have 4 people on a Saturday and we just bulk recorded from like 9 to 1, holy shit, that was fun.
There's nothing better than just getting like a full day in, like a full day from start to finish, where you just like, you almost have like a set of goals right when you go to bed, right? And you're like, this is all the things I got to do tomorrow, and you just nail them all like straight throughout the day. You lay in bed at night and you're like, fucking go.
You sleep easy.
Yeah, dude. That's the best feeling, I think.
Right.
It's hard to do that consistently because, I mean, if you do, it's probably pretty draining. But when you get those in every once in a while, like that full day from start to finish, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to your point of like the small wins, right? Like you drink your water in the morning before your coffee. You get your 5 minutes to 15 minutes of meditation. You read 10 pages before you go to bed. Like those are the things like, I did it. You're not going to wake up tomorrow morning like, when am I going to actually make time for myself? Like you're actually doing those small things, and it pays off in the long run. And you were talking about that earlier, just keeping those things routine, reminding yourself of that quote that you, every single time you wake up, to keep yourself in that same mindset. I mean, it's pretty impressive that we are doing that right now. And I mean, I'm guessing a lot of others are doing that, but I just love that the people I'm closest to are doing it too. I'm not saying we're better than anyone else, but I'm saying that we are doing those things. And that's really cool that we're surrounding ourselves with each other that are trying to do those things.
Yeah. And the accountability is off the charts, dude.
Accountability is insane.
It's so fun to be
It's
around
great.
you guys.
Accountability is love. Yeah, man, I love this group right here. This is an awesome group, and our whole friend group collectively for sure. But I think there's what is it, the quote? It's like Coach K says it too. It's like you are the sum of, or the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
And that when Coach K, who did he bring up in
Did
that?
he botch it?
He
It
brought
was Moist.
he brought
or
somebody up
Jesse
in the
or-
meeting,
yeah.
and he made him point out the 5 people
Yeah.
that he hangs out with most.
Moist, yeah.
And it was like
It was
Moist, and
Moist.
he's
He
like
was like
Jesse,
Jesse,
Ado,
Ace.
Ace, and like these 5 winners.
Some
and
studs.
Coach K
Of
just
course.
nods. He's like, of course.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's when it stuck with me. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Like, yeah. Like who you surround yourself with is
Yeah, man.
who you're gonna become.
Love
It's-
that.
Yeah, it's impressive. Coach K might be getting close to guest of the year. We just,
Dude.
yeah, we're
that
putting
one was
together.
fire.
Yeah, we're putting together our list of like,
We're gonna run a poll or something.
yeah, run a poll of put 10 guests out there and then let everybody vote on those 10 guests.
Yeah.
Winner gets the Backpocket guest of the year. We don't even know what we're gonna give them.
We're working on
I
it.
love that idea though. You
Yeah.
guys have had some studs.
Yeah.
John Tower is my vote. I love John.
Yeah,
John
he's on
Towers.
there.
Towers was
That
awesome.
one was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, but Coach K, second most downloads this season.
When he was talking about
Crazy.
the zombies, I was crying.
Yeah.
That's how he starts the podcast.
It was
Insane.
before you guys recorded, or like
We were-
started.
Yeah, we
right?
just hit play and like he didn't even know we were
So
starting
funny.
and we were just talking zombies. It was glorious.
So good.
I mean, I love that Coach K. He has that side, and then he has the side of so much deeper than
Mhm.
any other person. I mean, the when he says something to you, you know it's from his soul, and that is it's one of the most powerful things that I'm like trying to create in myself as a coach, and just he is so open, and everything is coming from such a depth in him. And he's not just saying a word.
Just
to
be
say a
careful
word.
with it, dude. Just be careful with it, because there's some scary moments over there in that Coach K mind. Woo-wee. But let's get to some our final segment here.
Mhm.
What did you learn? A simple question. What did you learn from the moment that you woke up to when we're having this conversation? This has been a packed day. It's currently 10 p.m. on a Monday, and we got after it today. There's probably a lot of learning moments. You could go big, you could go small. I'm going to start with my man, Cheese, over here. Deck, what did you learn today?
I learned that the Kanye album's not that good.
Ooh, I argue with that one.
Well, okay. Just let me. Can I explain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. So it's 27 minutes and 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye hasn't released an album in 2 years. There are every single Backpocket episode is twice the length of that one album, and that has nothing to do because our medium is entirely different than an album. However, I just want to put that out there. And I don't know. It was weird because I was listening to it, and like when I got 30 minutes into it, I was like, "Oh, dude, this song's kind of dope." And I realized that the album had ended 3 minutes prior, and I was listening to old Kanye at that point. And I was like, "Damn it, this is." It was just disappointing, but I should never raise my expectations, and whatever. The second to last song though,
With Kenny G?
Yeah, with Kenny G. God, I have that song stuck in my head. Great song.
Yeah, that's a positive.
Mm.
I thought there was
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 that I like added to library on Apple
I added
Music.
2.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like,
that's a decent amount from an album.
Everybody kind of shit
I
on
will
that
say
one. I
I've
was
yet.
like,
Yeah.
if I had 2 songs from an album, I feel like that's a pretty good album.
I added On God because I kind of love
I like
love
that
that
one.
phrase,
On
just
God.
On God.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. A good beat.
Yeah.
The problem that I had was like On God, great song, and then the one I'm talking about, I still can't remember the name of the song, but like those were the only 2 like legitimately, like in my mind, legitimately produced songs. The other songs were just like kind of these weird like interlude throwaway
Yeah.
type deals. It was like, come on, just like why are we doing making transition music for like movies and church shit? Like, come on. So that's what I learned.
It's all right, Decky. You
Yeah.
didn't learn a lot today.
I'm frustrated. What do you mean I didn't learn a lot?
Yoko, what did you learn today?
So it was from a podcast that Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is that how you say his name?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Does make
Star
that
Talk or
Nope, it was with Tim Ferriss. I listened to it late.
okay. First off, real quick about that. How about Tim Ferriss's first question to Neil?
Which one was that?
He said, "Where did you find or how did you find the passion, or where did it strike you that you wanted to be an astrophysicist?" And Neil was like, "Out of all the interviews that I've ever done in my whole life,
Yeah, I've never been.
you were the
asked that.
first person that has ever asked me that question." I was
Wow.
like, "Yo, that's dope."
There were so many good things in there too, where he was talking about how he prepares.
Mm-hmm.
I took a couple coaching things. I try to relate everything to coaching, and one of those things was like depending on what podcast he goes on, he conveys his message and changes it that way to, if he's with hip people, he'll try to make it like more hip, and if he's with serious people, he'll make more serious. And I was thinking, like, if he is doing that, like, as a coach, you have to be able to do that. Like, if you're with a kid that is super, like, up and coming or young, or like you need to find a way to convey your message to him. And then if you have a kid, a senior, like an accounting nerd, like a Grant Slavic, like just more baseline type guy, you have to find a way to communicate to him. And I thought that was pretty cool to, if he is doing it and he's at this legit level of just genius, like, you need to be able to do that as coach.
I like that a lot. That was
That's
way
good.
better than what I learned.
Awesome. Mark, what did you learn?
I get the name of it. I learned something great today, and it's also. Are we doing feel good story this week too?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
get into the feel good
Okay,
story.
I'm gonna blend them into both.
Here, then
I'll
I'll go, and then you wrap it up with the
Perfect.
feel good story.
Perfect. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
gotcha.
With
It's
the what
good
did you
po-
learn
It's good
and a feel good story.
podcasting. It's really good
Um,
podcast.
So I learned that I don't miss Steeler games, and
You can put it on right now.
no, we're not putting that on because I checked it a few times because I had to check it. I had to check the score, but I got to sit down with my boys for an hour 15 now. Steelers were down 14-10
Yeah.
at half. They're up 24-14.
Mm.
That's all good. That was going to be good no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Of
They're
course
gonna
it
take
was-
care of their.
Yeah.
Of course it was going to
Yeah.
be good. Trust that
Yeah,
and live in the
Dude,
moment and be present.
I love
Fuck
that.
yeah, dude.
And I got to have a great conversation. I could have easily said, let's push this off to next week. Deck and I will figure it out
Mhm.
and we'll get it done.
Yeah.
And I could watch my Steelers. No, dude. Let's embrace the moment. You guys could only do tonight. Of course we got to do it tonight. So I learned that you got to take the Steelers off the pedestal sometimes because I always put them up first.
Yep.
I put them up before everyone. And I didn't that today. And I felt good.
That's amazing. And that
Proud of you.
I was.
Thanks.
That's good.
That's so
actually.
good.
People don't understand how big of a deal that is.
Yes. And I
This
was thinking
is.
about that as soon as you said 10 o'clock. I was like, this dude just missed the whole second half of the Steelers game.
Yeah.
But and that's really funny you brought that up though, because I had the same realization this weekend because I was gone all weekend off the grid, and I missed Notre Dame, Michigan, and then I missed the Bears game, both of which were heartbreaking. Notre Dame got shit on and looked very bad from what I saw, and then the Bears were the Bears, and that was, we don't have to get into it. But I missed both games, and I'm so glad that I did because I had so much more fun doing other things and spending time with my girlfriend and being in a really awesome place and just being in the moment, like you said, and letting that stuff go and just being present, and it was great. So I love that. That's great.
Amen to that.
What I learned today, and a feel-good story for me, was I was very hungry around lunchtime today, and all I wanted was a Philly cheesesteak. And I was like, I don't know, I just had a craving for it. So I was like, all right, I'll go to Jersey Mike's. It's like 14 minutes from my school, and that's what I wanted. And then I realized I had a test after lunch. So I was like, I kind of need to get back and study for it a little bit before the test. So
I want this Philly cheesesteak.
But I want the Philly cheesesteak. So I Googled if there was any other sandwich spots close. And I found this one. Have you guys heard of it? Let me know. It's called Capriotti's
I have not.
Sandwich Shop. And it's in
How do
Edina.
you spell it?
Capriottis.
Soon to be a sponsor.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
like
should
that.
be, because so I Googled it. It's the same distance as Jersey Mike's, but I saw like a Google image of one of their sandwiches, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go for it," because it looked so good. So I drove out there and got one during lunch, and it was one of the best sandwiches I've ever had. And so not only did I learn about this new sandwich spot, but feel good story. It was an incredible sandwich, and I'm gonna be going back a lot. So I don't know. It was kind of a big moment for me today.
I
and
love
I was
that.
really happy about it.
All right, shout out to Caprioli's.
And you got back for your test?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you grabbed
I did get back for it, and I didn't study as much as I wanted to, but I think
That's
still
not the
did
feel
all
good
right.
But
story.
you-
That's not
but
the feel good story.
But
Feel good
it's
story
a
is
sandwich.
Capriotti's.
We'll
so
bleep
worth
that.
it.
Yeah, we'll bleep
Yeah,
that out.
yeah.
But you grand slammed the test.
Yeah.
And you grand slammed the sandwich.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And we got to grand slam this podcast,
Yeah.
which was
that
awesome.
was well worth our time. And this is I always like to put shit in perspective. But I just love that you guys came over at 8:45 and didn't think twice about it. Andrew thought twice about the Steelers game, but made like a good decision ultimately.
Made the right decision.
Made the right
Yep.
decision, and it was awesome. But dude, the commitment and the accountability, like I said before, is just like, I love it because I know when we're in 5 years from now, we literally have an hour and 15 minutes of a conversation of us presently right now as 23, 24-year-olds. And as 27-year-olds, that's going to look cool as shit.
You guys, you posted a year. What video? I commented
Declan's
on
comedy thing. Was that what it was?
It could have been Declan's. There was another one we did with Brandon Polzuk.
I think
Talking
it was
about Lincoln Drink?
Lincoln Drink. That's what
Oh.
it was. It was the first Lincoln Drink time where like the idea of it and it's coming up, and then you posted it again where like what Lincoln Drink is now, and I was like, you guys are gonna have so much of that in 5 years if we all do our jobs. Of
Sure.
this is where we were just talking in this room, and 5 years from now it's gonna be crazy.
And what are we talking about though? It's like, what are we gonna do in 5 years? It's like, well, what are we doing every single day to
To
just
get there.
what's our bricks, dude?
Yeah.
What's our bricks? And that's the best part is there's no doubt in my mind, no matter what the hell happens to any one of us or anybody, if you just focus on that brick by brick thing, you're unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely unstoppable. So that's one hell of a podcast, fellas. I think we absolutely closed it out like grand champs. Are we releasing this on Thursday?
This Thursday. Yes.
This Thursday. Okay,
Sweet.
so next week will be
We recorded
let's
them.
see.
We recorded
we
them.
recorded them. And
recorded them.
We recorded them, and we put them out
And
for everyone to
This
listen
week
to.
was Gabe fighting, so that the next week will be
Tommy Bayer,
Tommy Bayer on Tuesday, but on Monday
the Broshat brothers.
The Broshat
Holy
brothers.
shit, that is such a fun podcast.
we got Biker Bro Shot and Hiker
and
Bro
Hiker
Shot.
Broshat. We have what is it? Store bought and trash can.
Store brand and trash can.
Store brand and trash can. These guys are twin brothers from one of the cities around here, and they hiked the Pacific Crest Trail together.
I saw the map of that you guys had. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
No, it's insane.
Insane. And Store brand, also known as the Biker Bro Shot, if you want to go follow him on Instagram, he biked along the coastline of the United States.
The entire
United States. From Washington over to Maine, Maine down to Florida, Florida down to
No
California, and back
way.
up to Washington, and then a month and a half later,
Went
hiked the PCT with his twin brother.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
quit
Those
his
guys were
job and
awesome.
was just like, I'm gonna do this kind of adventure lifestyle for a little over a year. And we
Why
had
not?
we had them on the podcast. They just got back from hiking the PCT. So this guy had just like done this whole thing, and he was in like corporate life depression for like the last month, and he came on the podcast.
Got
I
to
think-
relive it.
I
He
think
was
they
so
talked.
happy.
They talked for about an hour
We
and
didn't do
a half.
anything.
We didn't
Yeah.
do
Do
a
anything.
damn thing. We
Yeah.
just
It
asked
was our
him
longest
questions,
podcast of the year, hour 50. You guys are going to love it. And then Tommy Bayer's next.
which is so funny.
Mhm.
And then
And
the
then the
interns,
interns.
quarter 4 review. We're having Sam and
Nice.
intern Ty on the podcast. next week.
When is Dowdle's podcast?
The last one of the season.
The last one of the season.
Last week of the season, he'll be released with Phil Asteen.
So I'm making the bold prediction right now that he's not bold prediction, but he's gonna blow it out of the water.
All right.
He's
That's
gonna
why he's the
impress
last one.
it. Yeah.
We
A
asked
lot of
Dowdle.
energy.
Yeah,
A
we
lot of
we
energy.
asked Dowdle to come
It's
on the
gonna be
podcast
awesome.
in like June or July, and he was like, "I'm not ready." Asked me in December, and we're like, "Oh, we're not podcasting in December." Well, come on, November. And he's like, "Yes."
I'm
So-
not ready. That's awesome.
No, for only podcast to ever say no because
Yeah.
he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
yet.
Wasn't ready.
Phenomenal.
The life growth from him his senior year of football to now, and what he's gonna get to talk about. It's gonna be crazy.
No, we've been talking to him, dude, off air. And it's gonna be. We're excited to share with the world. But until then, you know what? We got to get to bed, fellas.
Yeah, man.
And we got more bricks to lay tomorrow.
Yeah, we got
Right.
the 5 a.m. workout.
Absolutely, same here. But love you guys. Take care.
Take care.
Take
Take
care.
care. Love you guys. Boom.